Hello and welcome to the Polish Guy podcast. Today our guests are Pieter, an American spy. Pieter, say hi.
Hello.
And the other guest is Patol. Patol,
Hello.
yes, hello Patol. Patol is a music producer. What music do you produce, Patol?
Disco polo mostly.
Okay, what made you start producing disco polo music?
Uh, Money and money.
Okay, that is a good reason, yes. So today we will talk about something connected to money and disco polo, namely porn. We will talk about UK porn ban. Have you guys heard about UK porn ban, Pieter?
No, I didn't hear about that. I missed it.
Alright, what about you, Patol?
I've heard something, but no details.
What do you guys think overall about banning porn? Is it a good thing or is it a bad thing?
Probably a bad thing
Why is it a bad thing?
because it infringes on the free rights of men
Okay,
and women.
what do you think, Patul?
I think it's impossible to ban porn at all because fulfilling your sexual desires is one of the basic needs of a human being, and not many people have the ability to fulfill them on a daily basis without porn.
Yes, that is true. There is very many losers in the world right now. But
Yes.
the main question is it detrimental to some people, namely people that are, young? Should they use the porn websites?
Um, I don't know. I don't think that's a question for the government. That's a question for the parents. Parents should determine whether or not the kids
Yes,
get.
but now you're talking about little kids. What about these kids that are, almost grown up? Let's say they are 16. Should they
Yeah, then
get
they
the
can
kind
do
of.
it then. Yeah.
Don't you think that it has some kind of a detrimental effect on their mental health or the ability to find
In
a boyfriend
excess, yeah, probably.
in excess? But what is excess?
Excess is too much.
Which would be how much?
Um, the point at which it starts to hurt the person's social life, personal life, that point is too much.
So, how many visits a week would that be?
See, that's the thing. It's different for each person. It's not a specific number. Some people can
Okay,
watch more probably and be fine.
okay. What do you think, Patul? Does it depend on the person?
I think it does, but yeah, I guess you could make a kind of a guess that if you do it, for example, like once a day, then I guess that is still not an excess. But if you're doing it multiple times a day, then you might have a problem.
Okay, so one wank a day is good. All right, thank you. I
Yes.
feel good about myself right now. Okay, so basically, the UK porn gun, guys. There has been a research that a lot of people that watch porn are in the age group of 13 to 15. Okay, so the thing is that the same people that provided these statistics said that 50% of the UK citizens think that Mount Everest is in the UK, which is probably not true. What do you think? Should the government make such a drastic decision, namely banning UK porn, just based on some statistics that are not necessarily true? Pieter, what do you think?
They just picked a random horrible survey company who gave them bad results, and then they just made.
Yes.
Okay, well then, yeah, that's pretty stupid. They shouldn't have done that. I don't know why they did that.
Yes, so not all statistics are correct in the age of internet, right? What do you think, Pato?
I think on average, 60% of statistics are wrong.
60%.
Yes.
I heard that 99% is wrong. But I guess that is a statistic as well, so that might be wrong too, yes.
Yes.
Alright,
Exactly.
so let's think about it. What could be the possible detrimental effects that watching porn would have on kids?
Um, it makes them losers.
Losers, in which sense?
They stay in their room on their computers and not going outside, not interacting with people.
Battle. Do you know anything about that?
We have an expert here.
Maybe.
We have an expert here.
We
Or
have
do
an
we?
expert on being loser. Yes.
Okay, that is not what I said. I just said you're an expert on masturbation. That's two different things.
Well,
Alright,
I'm not the best in the world, but I've had my practice.
so you strive to be the best, yes?
Yes.
Okay, hopefully one day you'll make it big, yes.
Prove it to him. Prove it to him. Prove it to him.
I don't think you will hear it through the mic.
Well, that depends on the power, I think. But let's not talk about this.
Yes. How can the kids between 13 and 15 years old be hurt through porn?
Yes, what do you think?
Yes, so I think that if you have no kind of sexual education, then porn can teach you things about sex that are not true. And that may lead to either,
Aggressive behavior.
yes, that too. And also to wrong expectations towards your future partners.
Yes, and that can, in the result, prevent you from finding the love of your life, yes? Because you have too high expectations. That correct?
I guess that too.
Yes.
Also, it will hurt any kind of relationship that you will get later on.
How do you think these relations are affected, Pieter?
I don't know. It depends on the person, really. Like.
Do you think that maybe some people actually do engage in social contacts because of watching porn? Like they gather in groups, they watch it together.
No, they don't.
Do you think that is the case?
I think that is rare, very rare.
But it happens sometimes.
Well,
on accident, accidentally.
Yes.
So there might be some accidental
freak accidents.
Yes. We heard about this in the news. But during these accidents, they can possibly find the love on their life, yes?
No. That love of your life is doing something else.
That is probably correct, yes. But then again, okay, so we've discussed what possible effects there are on kids, but what effects could there be on adults watching porn?
Well, if you look at the research, you can see that it does change your brain a little bit. There's a bunch of research on that because it's like any activity, it releases dopamine. So if you do it a bunch, it's gonna change. It's gonna affect your. I'm not saying it's bad or good or anything, but it will change you in some ways, which you might not even know. You have to consider that.
What would be the example of a way it can change you?
Well, I'm not saying how it will change you. All I know is it can change you.
And one thing is that if you stimulate yourself and release a lot of dopamine or serotonin very often, from what I've read, it can lead to your receptors kind of getting numb, and that may lead to things like depression, for example. So if you stimulate yourself too much with porn, then you'll get depressed.
Yes, you can get depressed. And also, if you give yourself this sense of gratification, satisfaction that does not really come with any hard work,
Yes.
you then expect that all these good feelings or this dopamine will come without you actually doing anything. And that's why you probably will stop to actually do anything to advance your relations with the opposite sex in order to have sex, right?
That's a very good point.
Hmm.
Okay, so there is some bad things that might happen after watching porn. Doesn't matter if you're an adult or if you're just let's say a teenager, right? But then, do you think that there is a difference between women watching porn and a man?
No, what do you mean?
I mean that if the woman watches porn, do you think that it will have the same effect on her as if it was a man? Do you think that they will perhaps be less social than men would be, or maybe it does not affect their social capabilities?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, you'd have to look at the research, but I don't see why it would be much different for women than.
Yes, but it is known that women are, on average, better at making conversations in social life. So, if that is the case, then perhaps that is also the case that it does not really change their social life that much. What do you think, Pato?
I think there should be some differences, even small ones, but it's hard to really get any decent data for it because what I have here, according to, for example, Pornhub, the audience of pornography is 75% men and only 25% women. So we have 3 times lower amount of people to kind of get the research done on.
But
So
that is 25% of all women, of all people watching. And there is like 2 million people watching Pornhub each month.
well, I can try to find something now, I guess. Some data, maybe there are some articles.
Perhaps, but let's not dive deep into it. As you can see from the data provided here, 4% of people watching porn is 65 plus, older than 65. What do you think about that? What do you think about these old people watching porn?
Um, I don't.
That is very good. You should not think about that. But do you think it's good for the mental health?
For what?
For their mental health.
I don't think it's good. I don't think it's. It can be bad. Maybe it's like neutral. I don't know.
But don't
You
you
know.
think that perhaps by watching porn, then can get the image of still being young and thus feel younger and don't fall into the illnesses of dementia?
Why do they have to feel like they're young? They can feel like they're old. They are old.
They are
It's
old,
better.
but not really, not really. Is it better? Do you think it's better for old people to feel old? Pap?
I mean, by feel old, they shouldn't be in denial about their age. They should know how old they are, and they should accept that. Otherwise, you're gonna have a midlife crisis, and that's pretty bad.
But they are past their
You're gonna be pretty
midlife
sad.
already.
You're gonna be pretty sad
65
if you're
plus.
just wanting to be young.
You can change your age, right?
Yeah, it's something you should accept.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, most important thing for you is your health. The age doesn't matter if you're
Yes, it
healthier
doesn't
than
matter,
someone
but
who's.
sometimes people are just, they are sad that they're old.
Yes,
And
of course.
they want to feel younger so that they can watch porn and feel younger. I mean,
I don't know if that's why
Yeah.
they watch it.
At some point, it's gonna be pretty hard to enjoy it. Just like with normal sex, right? So you just get too old to do it.
okay, so you said that these people should accept just that. Okay, but then if they accepted that, why would they watch porn? What do you think?
For different reasons. Why does anyone watch it? That's why. For those reasons.
I think we've established that the beginning already.
Yeah, for those reasons. They don't watch it to feel young necessarily.
So you say that they're just losers. That's why they're watching porn.
I mean, I don't think people who watch it are losers. I mean, you can be a loser if you watch it, but you're not necessarily a loser.
Yes, that does not make you a loser. That is a good point to remember. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise,
so
we'd be
now-
alienating like most of the audience.
But then again, then again, let's think about this. So Patel mentioned that there should be some kind of sexual education so that porn is not that detrimental to the young people watching. But then again, in Poland, there is a movement that wants to ban sex education in schools. What do you think? Is that a good movement?
No.
What would be the reasons for banning sex education?
I don't know. It's pretty stupid. Most people are going to learn about it. They have to learn about it anyways, so might as well control it and do it in the right way.
So, do you think that sex educations can actually lead to young people having unprotected sex?
No, that's not the reason why. The reason why they have it is for their own reasons again, just because they have those feelings.
I think it's the other way around. If you learn how to do it, you won't do it wrong. You won't do it unprotected and get yourself in trouble.
Yes, but then again, did you guys have sex educations at school?
I don't think I did. I don't remember. I don't think I did.
You, Battle?
Kind of. It wasn't of it. It wasn't of very high quality, but I remember we had like a few classes in the last year of primary school, and then interestingly, I had it in a private Catholic junior high school, middle school, whatever you want to call it.
Hmm.
But
And what are
the
your
way it
what are
looked,
your memories from that?
I remember that standard things like people laughing when the teacher said things like penis or something. But from the uh, the contents of the lessons, I remember that we had one very stupid movie that animated movie about sex that kind of the language used in it looked like if it was designed for 10-year-olds, not 13 or 15 years olds. And outside of that, I remember learning about some sexual diseases or diseases that can be transmitted through sex. So I guess that is one of the most important things.
To learn about the
Actually,
diseases. But then again, did you
yeah, it's
learn
good.
something else from these lessons?
No, nothing. And they weren't mandatory, so you could just write yourself
Yes, so
out
you
in
see
them.
that's the point. They are not even mandatory, so
Yes, yes.
why remove them? Why would you cancel them? But then at the same time, if kids aren't really paying attention in these classes, then is it reasonable to even have them? Because
I mean,
as you
if you
said, there were people laughing at the word penis. So what if these classes actually encourage them to go out and have sex and they don't do it right because they did not really pay attention in the class or Google it?
I mean, first of all, that happens to every class. People don't even know how
Yes,
inflation works in this country.
yes.
The second thing is the biggest reason why people were kind of laughing at those kind of lessons is because they were of very low quality and kind of they felt forced, very forced. They weren't done in a good way, at least in my opinion,
Mhm.
but also in the opinion of a lot of people that I talked to. And one thing I want to add is that I actually talked about it recently with some of my colleagues at the university,
Okay.
and one of the one of my girl colleagues, how do you call it? Jesus.
One of your
Uh,
friends, yes, your
yes,
girlfriend.
yes. She said that she actually had those lessons and that she learned about how to put the contraceptives on your genitals. And
Okay.
the thing that struck me is that she had it, I had something else, some people had something else. So there never was a clear program to follow in those
Mhm.
lessons, right?
Yes,
So
it's
all
true.
those
So
things led to this being ineffective in a way. And
yes,
coming back to what you said, why would people ban those lessons if they aren't even mandatory or if they aren't even done correctly?
yes, yes.
Well, I think it's mostly just a political movement at this point. It's to
Yes,
gain
because
votes.
having sex is not good in the eyes of God.
You
guys
could argue.
disagree from their perspective. That's what they
Yeah,
say.
kind of.
Yes. So, in conclusion, we could say that sex education should not be removed in Poland. It should be improved so
Yes.
that there is better quality. Kids actually learn something besides laughing at the word penis, and they are well educated and ready to enter the adulthood.
Yes. Couldn't agree more.
Do you agree with
I
that,
mean, if
Peter?
you don't have those things, then so I wanted to add one more thing
Yes, yes.
because I just recalled something that I've read somewhere that there actually were studies on parents teaching their children about sex. Having those talks with your parents,
Yes,
and
yes.
that it isn't beneficial for children because there should be kind of a barrier in terms of those things between children and their parents.
Yes,
So it
it gets
actually
awkward,
turn out,
right?
yeah. And from the psychological point of view, it's just better to be make it uh, happen to other people who aren't your relatives. So this
Yes.
leads to the
Yes, so
point
they
that
need this
it should
safe
be
space
improved.
that they can talk about sex educations in the class so that they all can experience it together, not necessarily with their parents, because they don't want to talk about these things with their parents. It just gets weird, right?
Yeah, and also it was never called sexual education from my memory. It was always called uh, something like teaching to be in a family. And yeah, I think if you don't have those things, then not always, because
Then
most
it
people
shouldn't be
will
that much
probably.
focused about family, right? It should be more about the sex itself, sex
No, what I
education
mean
for
is
them.
that if you don't know those basic things,
Hmm.
because it is one of the basic things in a relationship, in a serious relationship,
Yes,
then you can hurt your relationships later on.
yes,
And it might not happen to most people because most people will get their knowledge from somewhere else. But when you're talking about school,
uh-huh.
school is supposed to kind of even out the knowledge in society and kind of bring up, help people who can't get this kind of knowledge from anywhere else. Because otherwise, you would just let parents teach their children everything, like maps,
Yes.
languages, everything.
So the sex ed knowledge should also be evened out. Okay, so now that we sorted it out, guys, to finish it up, please each of you tell me one thing about sex ed and porn that is beneficial and one thing that is not, that is detrimental. Pieter, start.
Okay, so um, I don't think there's anything bad about sex education. Maybe if they're too young, they shouldn't learn about it. But that's just maybe. I don't know.
So they should be in
Uh,
the right age, yes.
yeah, sure. But yeah, and the bad thing about porn is that if you watch it too much, if you uh, if you don't go out enough, if you rely on it too much, uh, you'll have a hard time in life.
That's what
Um,
she said. You have a hard time in life. Yeah, very nice.
yeah, because like
Okay.
the- if you can just always open your phone and do what you got to do, you won't have much motivation to go out there and meet a girl. Probably. I mean, maybe you will. I don't know. There's just
I mean,
that's
it
just
is
that's just one that's just one theory.
it
That
is a
might not be the
different
case.
feeling, but yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's just one theory. So, and the good thing about sex education is that obviously people become more educated and they are able to make better decisions than before. And the good thing about porn is that it's there, I guess.
It's there for those people that can't do it IRL. I see. Okay. And
Mm-hmm.
what do you think, Pato?
Uh, well, the good thing about sex education is that more. knowledge people have, the better it is for society, for everything. And the disadvantages of it, I would say, main thing is that it has to be kind of no, you can't just have one program for everybody. It has to be changed for specific ages. And yeah, for example, there should be some kind of sexual education too for children that are even minors, not in terms of actually telling them how things work, but for example, teaching them about being intimate and that someone can't and shouldn't touch you in certain places, right? Because that's also one of the uh, arguments brought up a lot that is supposed to help protect children from pedophiles or things like this.
Mhm.
So it is a hard task to actually make to get to those children.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think that's the biggest disadvantage.
And the
Outside of the
advantage.
fact that obviously, I mean, disadvantage meaning that it's hard to do it right, to do it right, because as we've mentioned, for the most part, the lessons were done in a wrong way and
Yes. So
not.
they gotta be more effective.
Yes, yes.
Okay, and what would be the advantage of porn?
Mm, I would just come back to one of the first things that we mentioned that uh, fulfilling your sexual desires is very important for every person, and porn can kind of help with it. Especially if you look at things that are, like fetishes, more drastic things that you probably you will have a hard time getting from other people. Yeah. So I guess that is a good thing.
Mhm.
And as far as disadvantages, I think we've mentioned most things. It can just mess with your brain
Yes.
if
Yes.
you don't do it, if you do it too much.
Yes. So overall, to all the kids and all the other people listening, if you do it, you have to do it right and wear a condom. Remember that. Outside of that, don't watch too much porn because you'll lose motivation to pursue IRL contacts. And that is one of the most important parts to get these social contacts. That is why you cannot watch that much porn. That being said, watching it from time to time, perfectly okay. Yes, high five. Okay. All right, guys, that is all for the Polish Guy podcast for today. Please subscribe, comment, hit that like button, and support the channel. Okay, guys, say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Cheers.